Freedom, man. That's what it's all about. You've got to groove on freedom, like the good book says.
Welcome. You are listening to What on Earth is Happening. This show will discuss the topics of human consciousness, mind control, natural law, the occult, and all issues that affect the freedom of the people of Earth. What on Earth is Happening will endeavor to shine light upon the darkness of our world and to offer empowering solutions to the problems we face as humanity approaches its critical moment of choice. And now, here is your host, Mark Passio.
Welcome one and all, you're watching What on Earth is Happening. I'm your host, Mark Passio. My website, whatonearthishappening.com. Ladies and gentlemen, government is slavery. And here on What on Earth is Happening, we are ending slavery one mind at a time. Welcome and thank you for tuning in today, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Sunday, January 8th, 2023. This is episode number 260 of What on Earth is Happening. Today's show is entitled New Year, New Show Format, Same Slavery. And yes, government still is slavery. And yes, our great work, our one great work is to end that condition here on this planet for all, for everyone. And the problem is that people still sadly do not understand that we are enslaved. We got off to a slow start today. I got started almost 15 minutes late due to technical problems. I did eventually resolve those. I had 2 computer crashes due to some software issues. I think I've identified what the problem is, and I will definitely have that resolved. It kind of is already resolved, but I might need to update some software, and that might be the issue. Some slightly older software with a newer operating system. But nonetheless, that seems to be taken care of right now. So what I want to do is, today's show is largely going to be about what we are still unfortunately failing to do as a people. And I want to show people the new format of the show. We're on a 2-hour schedule now from 3 to 5 p.m. The show will still run, even though we got started late, it'll still run for 2 hours. And I want to go over some of the changes, and then I want to talk about what I've been up to, projects I've been working on, upcoming projects that I have coming up this year, and then we'll probably go to the phones in the second hour of the show. So let me see if everything is squared away to go over to my laptop here. It is excellent. I just didn't have it in slide mode. There we go. All right, so thank you to Will Keller of One Great Work Network for the great artwork that he provides for each show. Again, this is episode 260, the topic, New Year, New Show Format, Same Slavery. You'll see that we have a slightly different show interface this year. I now have HD slides that are 16:9 aspect ratio instead of my old 4:3 aspect ratio format. And I slightly modified the video box that I appear in. I think it looks pretty slick. It looks much better even than the old interface, so I'm happy with how that came out. And let's ease into this show, because what I want to do is just really tell everybody basically what's been going on and what to expect this season of What on Earth is Happening. And it's very unfortunate that I cannot start with good news. I'm going to have to start with some bad news. But let's move on in the slide presentation anyway. And of course, our new format, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, from January through June. So that's going to be the format for this season of What on Earth is Happening. A shortened 2-hour format, and it's because I need more time to focus in on some things that I have coming up this year. But in all honesty, I have to deliver some bad news that this season of What on Earth is Happening may be very incomplete and truncated. I may not be able to do every show every week, due to the fact that I will be forced to move my residence, unfortunately. I told people about the court battle that I was going through last year to attempt to keep my house, and unfortunately that effort has failed, and I've been ruled against, and I am not going to be able to stay in this location. So, very unfortunately, I'm going to have to move in the early part of this year. So that is probably going to negatively impact a lot of things. Number one, What on Earth is Happening again may have a lesser number of shows. I may need to stop the show anywhere along the line depending on how the transition to a new home goes. There will be disruptions to the What on Earth is Happening replay server, because that's run out of this house. That'll have to be taken to the new location. And there will be disruptions to the One Great Work Network live stream on the front page of the onegreatworknetwork.com website, because that is also a streaming server run from here. And I have other news on that front as well that I want to get into today. But just don't expect this season to be a rock-solid, complete season operating every single Sunday. I'm just letting people know that, because moving is going to be a gigantic task for me, especially with all the equipment I have. And, sorry about that. My allergies have been bothering me pretty bad, folks. I was around a cat. So if you see like redness in my eyes and things like that, and me itching a little bit, that's why, and I apologize for that. But, it's something I also deal with. But anyway, we are going to attempt to put on a show here every Sunday at from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern. We'll see how that works out, and how the move is going to affect that. I'm probably looking to, move somewhere into the Philadelphia suburbs, and I'll keep people up to date on that. We'll see what happens. So, again, that move will be coming up in the first half of the year, certainly, probably around March, or possibly as late as April, but more likely than not late March. I'll keep people up to date on that. In the meantime, I want to announce the 2023 How to Become the True Media Seminar. And I want to say to everyone who took the 2022 seminar, phenomenal job. It was an awesome class of students in 2022. And I think that people really, really take How to Become the True Media very seriously. I think we're going to end up with some great content creators as a result of this past seminar in 2022. So the 2023 seminar coming up in July, starting July 10th. It's going to be held on Telegram again. Telegram was a great platform for doing this. I was very, very happy and impressed with the way Telegram handled the seminar from a technological point of view. So we'll be using Telegram again this year. This is an intensive 23-week technology skill set sharing seminar hosted by myself on the Telegram platform. It takes place every Monday evening from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Time, from Monday, July 10th to Monday, December 11th. It's a 6-month course, a total of 23 class sessions. There is limited space. We had a great number of students apply last year, and I almost had to cap it. I did not actually turn off the enrollment, but we will absolutely, if we hit the number that I want to hit, we will end enrollment early. So enrollment will begin Saturday, April 1st, 2023, and it will close on the 4th of July, July 4th, 2023. For more information on the How to Become the True Media 2023 seminar and all of the class topics that we cover technologically, you can visit the website of the seminar at howtobecomthetruemedia.com. Once again, howtobecomthetruemedia.com. And registration opens April 1st. Register early, folks. Get it. Make sure you're not left out if I have to close enrollment. So that's the How to Become the True Media seminar. I focus on that for the second 6 months of the year. And I'm very glad to announce we'll be doing that again this year. And I will absolutely be settled wherever I'm going to be by that point in the year. So that should not affect the How to Become the True Media seminar. Of course, we are adding content creators all the time to the One Great Work Network. Please do check it out at onegreatworknetwork.com. And I have some announcements I want to make regarding that. The first is we've added some new content creators. I believe we have now 72 content creators on One Great Work Network. And these are incredible people from all over the world who contribute content about morality, objective morality, about the truth about what's really taking place in our world, about occultism, about the condition of human slavery and how to end it. So it's the best of the best as far as I'm concerned. And we will still be adding new content creators during the course of this year. Added some great content creators this year, and again, our number right now is at 72 content creators on the network, all producing incredible content, videos, articles, audio, etc. So don't miss it. Check it out at onegreatworknetwork.com. Now, on the One Great Work Network front, which is a huge part of my operation as a collective of content creators, we are attempting to move to an even better localized video streaming server. And it's going to cost some money to do that. And one of the things I want to talk about today, honestly, is resources. Because I know we're in horrific financial times, and things have trailed off in that regard. And unfortunately, I have to say, if they continue to trail off, my operations in every aspect, in What on Earth is Happening, in One Great Work Network, and in How to Become the True Media may be affected. So I want to, put out the intention that, we do need for these operations to bring in donations. Everything that I do here is donation funded. We have no big financial backers. We have no, huge benefactors. In the past, at one point, we did have a couple of benefactors, and not to say that we still don't have very generous people helping us, but I wouldn't say that there's one small group of benefactors that just totally puts up the resources for all these operations. These are donation-funded operations, and if donations dry up, unfortunately, the operations will dry up as well, and no one wants to see that happen, least of all myself. So I'm going to ask for the help that I need. And if the community responds, we will have what we need. If the community does not respond, we will not have what we need, and we will not be able to continue some of these operations. And I just have to be honest on that front and tell you that's how it's going to work. So more on that in a minute. I thought it was next in my slide progression, but I just wanted to let people know that I have released, for free, online on Odyssey, on YouTube, and on my website, the two presentations that I did late last year as part of the two seminars that I participated in September. The first one was De Facto Satanism, which I gave at the Freedom Under Natural Law 2 conference on September 11th. and that is released for free. You can watch it on the front page of What on Earth is Happening. You can watch it on the videos section of What on Earth is Happening. You can watch it in the news section of What on Earth is Happening. You can watch it on my Odyssey channel. You can watch it on my Facebook channel. So check out the presentation, De Facto Satanism. I want to send a quick shout out to Greg Reese for featuring this presentation in one of his Reese Report videos on Band.video. Greg did a phenomenal job talking about the concepts in this presentation. I've been a fan of his work for many years. I think he's probably the best content creator on Band.video. And we will more likely than not be bringing Greg onto What on Earth is Happening for an interview this season. I'll also be interviewing some people from One Great Work Network this season, so stay tuned for all of that. We will be having some great interviews this season of What on Earth is Happening. So, De Facto Satanism, check it out at my website, at Odyssey, or at YouTube. Simultaneous to that, I released the PSYOPs presentation that I delivered at the Shattering the Illusion conference on September 24th last year. And this one's been making the rounds and been getting a lot of traction as well. It also upsets many people to hear that some of the things that they deeply believe in, I would absolutely say, are psychological warfare operations being waged against them. So this one has been received, with mixed reviews depending on the audience that sees it. And that's okay. That's what it's there to do. It's meant to be thought-provoking. It's meant to be incendiary in many cases to the people who I feel are falling for psychological operations. So don't miss this one. This is a very important one in my arsenal of presentations. So check that out on What on Earth is Happening, Odyssey, and YouTube as well. Now, here's the new thing that I wanted to talk with everyone about and make them aware of. This is extremely important, and I really want to emphasize it. I'm actually going to probably step out of the presentation and show you this on the website today of What on Earth is Happening donation gifts. So you'll notice on this is my gifts area of my website where you can make donations for physical items to receive a gift in return for your donation to the cause of What on Earth is Happening and the One Great Work Network. So you'll notice over here on the right-hand side, I've added an entire category called Technology Donations. Now, we're on the Categories tab of the website, the Categories page. So right here, you'll see a large section with a graphic called Technology Donations. And what we're going to do here is we're adding to the way that people can donate to What on Earth is Happening and to One Great Work Network through technology. Now, we already have a technology wish list on the donations page of What on Earth is Happening and One Great Work Network. But what that area is for, it's different than this. The wish list area is for smaller technological items, or items that are, let's just say, certainly under like the price tag of $1,000 or greater. We won't put anything that's very expensive on that technology wish list. And the reason that I don't want to do that is because I don't feel that one person alone should even shoulder the burden for an expensive item. So if we require an expensive item, as I'm going to talk about in a moment, what I want to do to fund that the reception of that item, which we require, is I want it to be crowdsource funded. And I don't want to use the traditional methods of crowdsource funding. I want to use my own method. So what I did is I made it a section in What on Earth is Happening donation gifts. And on the next slide, I'm going to show you what it looks like, what the page looks like. Then I'll go to the page and actually demo it in real time. But this is what it will look like. And this is the whole purpose of the crowdsource funding. So this is the page that you will go to if you click into that technology section and you hit the one item that is there. Right now, we only have one item. We may add more items if we require any actually expensive items. This item that we are going to require for One Great Work Network is sells for around $4,000. So like I said, any less expensive items, we'll just throw up there on our Amazon wish list. We'll put it up on the Amazon wish list, and we'll let an individual purchase it if that's how they want to donate to us. But for a very expensive item, I don't want one person picking it up. I think that if we're going to demonstrate how collective group effort should be done in our community, and if people think that what we do is valuable for them, if they think they're benefiting from it, then people should crowdsource fund it. We should all come together, put a little bit of money into the item, and then it's going to be available for us to use for the betterment of our community. And no, that's not communism, that's community. That's all that is. It's people sharing the burden to make it easier for us to do. And that's why I said up at the top, What on Earth is Happening? Donation, gifts, crowdsource funding. Many hands make light work. If you put many hands into the effort, the work is easy. If one or two people have to do it all, the work is hard. So let's make it light work by all coming together and contributing. Because again, if people say that they benefit, then they can contribute donation-wise. So the technology donation section of What on Earth is Happening Gifts makes it possible for supporters of What on Earth is Happening and One Great Work Network to help fund the purchase of technology items that are required for What on Earth is Happening and One Great Work Network, specifically items considered too expensive for a single individual to donate via our Amazon technology wish list. We're not going to list any fairly expensive items. I would say over $1,000, let's say. If they are something over $1,000, I will probably put them on this technology list as opposed to just putting them on our Amazon wish list. The Amazon wish list is for smaller items. That's how I want to use it. Okay? And I'm going to just step out of the presentation briefly, and I'm going to just very briefly show you this in operation on the GIFTS website. So it's nothing that is very complicated. It's very easy to use and to understand. When you go to What on Earth is Happening Donation Gifts, it looks like this. I'll make this a little larger. Let's zoom in a bit. There we go. And you can hit categories here and get to it. There it is right there at the beginning, technology donation. And then there's the one item on the section, and you could click into that item. And now here's where you can make a customized donation. So right here underneath the item listing, well, you could look at images of the item as well. We're looking to get a Mac Studio for our streaming server. It's also going to be used for content creators to actually upload their content, and we store it here, and then we stream out over a dedicated server. So that was the front. This is the back, and then they show we have a top and bottom view there. So that's the computer. I'll probably use it with an existing monitor that I have. I don't know if I'll even require a new monitor for it, but here underneath where it says donation amount, you can click this and it will say please select your donation amount. We have amounts listed from $50 all the way through $500, and it goes in $50 increments. So anywhere, you could donate $50, $100, $150, and so on, up to $500 donation. If we got 8 $500 donations, we get the new server. If not, we'll stick with the older server that we have running. And again, this is going to make things smoother and easier, especially on the administration side and the maintenance side, which is why I want to move over to an M1 based Mac Studio. So that is What on Earth is Happening donation gifts changes. And I just want to announce, yes, we do require that Mac Studio, and if anyone can help to contribute in the form of donations through our donation gifts website, it is greatly appreciated. Technology donations is also listed on the side. It takes you to the same place, and you have to click into this. Add to basket won't actually work on this page because the default donation is 0. So you have to click into here and actually set a donation amount that you want to give here. Then you can hit add to basket. Okay? So that is our new technology donation section on What on Earth is Happening donation gifts. So I just wanted to show everybody that. We can set that aside and step back into the slides. All right. I will be a speaker, a virtual speaker, at this year's Activism 2023 conference, which is called Resist. Activism 2023 Resist. My presentation this year is entitled Anarchy and the Occult Part 3, The Only Solution to Slavery. It is a continuation and an addendum on the Anarchy and the Occult Part 1 and 2 series. So I'll be taking this into a third installment. And the subtitle of the presentation is The Only Solution to Slavery. Because there is only one solution to slavery. And we could talk about that a little bit on What on Earth is Happening today. But people think that there's a myriad of solutions. No, there is not. There is one. And this is the shocking thing that a lot of people, when they come across it, when they hear this, they're shocked, they're appalled. How could you say that? There's so many solutions. No, there's many, many, many projects that you can start that if they're not based upon objective morality, they will always fail. So those aren't solutions. You can't put the cart before the horse. Putting the cart before the horse is, we're going to invent a new monetary system. We're going to invent a new food growing system. We'll invent a new energy system. But we'll have the same slavery on earth. We won't actually liberate ourselves first. We won't actually end the slavery of government first. We won't actually end the completely incorrect, immoral thinking that some people have authority over other people. Well, we won't end that. We'll keep that. We'll create something new within that system of total slavery and violence and coercion and duress. And somehow we'll be free because we have some new system or technology or program. Please. It's childish delusion. It's childish delusion. And that's effectively what I'm going to tell the whole anarchist community. It's what I'll tell everybody watching and listening today. It's what I'll tell the whole anarchist community. And if you think that it isn't that way, you're incorrect. I'm correct about that dynamic and how it works. And if you don't agree, you're incorrect. You are wrong regarding that. And you need to get your head out from up your ass and get it screwed onto your shoulders straight and understand that. And essentially, that's the attitude I'm going into Activism with this year, because I see the whole anarchist community as it's just going around in an endless loop. In an endless loop because it can't change its thinking. It's tied to erroneous thought processes. And it can't change them because it doesn't want to acknowledge that it was wrong. It won't say the most powerful phrase that can ever be uttered aloud, I was wrong. See, I'm not wrong when it comes to this. I was wrong previously thinking that any type of a system could change the whole dynamic of slavery on earth by itself. We just got to create the new system, the new paradigm, and suddenly this will change everything. It's going to be we just need the right cryptocurrency in place. Don't you know? That's going to solve everything. No, that's not going to solve shit. A worldwide common sense understanding of objective morality is the only solution. And if you're not trying to put that forward educationally, out into the wild, into the public domain, through the internet, through digital technology, so that it can be shared as widely and as freely as possible, you're not part of the solution. You're part of the problem. And this is what I'm going to expand on greatly at Activism with a slide presentation. So check that out. That'll be coming up in early February. I think they said that they were going to play my presentation on day one of the conference. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's what the stage manager emailed me, that my presentation will be played on February 6th. I will confirm that for sure in next week's show, but for now, I believe that's what was told to me. I have to go back into my email. But look forward in the early days of the conference, probably February 6th. This is the title card of my presentation called Anarchy in the Occult, Part 3, The Only Solution to Slavery. So check that out at this year's Anarchapulco conference. And again, folks, I hold anarchists, people who claim to be anarchists, to a higher standard. I hold them to a higher moral standard, and they need to be held to a higher intellectual standard as well. Because you hear so many things out of the people in this community that I could just put my head in my hand and just weep all day. All day, some of the things that I hear come out of their mouths, and what they believe is going to lead to a solution. What they're excited about. Yes, we're going to make this happen, and it's going to free us. And I just am looking at them like, oh my God, you poor, sick-minded child. I mean, they just don't get it. They just don't get it. And it's sad. It's sad because it makes this community look bad. And then I am the one who has to be hard on them, sadly. Then I'm the bad guy. And fine, I'll be the bad guy. Let me play that role. I'll play it. I don't care. I will play the role of the bad guy, no problem. If that's what I have to do, that's what I have to do. So be it. So be it. Because I'm going to tell people the harsh truth that they don't want to hear, that's going to make them internally recognize where the flaw in their thinking is at, and then they're going to find at some point they may have an aha moment and then correct their thinking about it. And that's my hope, and that's why I do this. I don't do this to berate the community. You know, I could endlessly do that if I wanted to. But that's not my purpose. That's not my goal. My goal is you need to hear where your thinking is off target. Because off-target thinking makes off-target actions. And then you're like I said, you're not part of the solution. You're part of the problem. And, you know, it's really sad that we are at the place that we are at collectively as a people. That even the people who say that they want to be free, which are few and far between. It's very sad where their thought is at. And it's sad where their behavior is at. And with some people, there's no telling them. But my goal is I can get through to a portion of them. And maybe they'll correct their thoughts. And then they'll redirect their energy of their behavior, of their actions. And then maybe they'll really start making a dent in the real problem. So that's coming up early February. The biggest announcement right now that I have is I am going to deliver this year my promised presentation. It's going to be one of my great works, if you will, similar to my natural law presentation. And I think this one's going to blow the tops of people's heads off when they see it. I'm calling it Two Masks, Same Face. The Dark Occult Origins of Nazism and Communism. We have a potential venue and a potential date. These are not hardcore locked in. The venue and the date are potentials. They are not yet hardcore locked in. Let me say that one more time. The venue and date are strong potentials, but they are not locked in and they are subject to change. But as of right now, it looks like we are going to be holding this event at Tavern on the Lake in Hightstown, New Jersey on September 23rd, 2023. That's 9/23/23. 9/23/23. Get ready because Two Masks, Same Face is going to be an all-day presentation. We're going to rent the second floor of the venue for the entirety of the day, and the presentation will be an all-day event similar to the Natural Law Seminar. So that's coming up in Hightstown, New Jersey in September of this year. Two Masks, Same Face, the Dark Occult Origins of Nazism and Communism. I know it's been a long, long time that I've been promising it, but we're going to do it this year. So we will be making the attendance of this a donation, which will be run through What on Earth is Happening donation gifts. Let me say that again. To attend, there will be a donation, and it will be run through What on Earth is Happening donation gifts. When we start opening attendance donations, okay? Because this is going to be a private event. And in return for the donation that we are requesting for What on Earth is Happening, One Great Work Network, etc., we will invite you to the private event. So again, this is a private, basically by invitation only event. And in return for your donation toward my efforts in researching and delivering this presentation, we will invite you to the private event. And you'll be on a, on a register to go in and give your name, and we'll see that you did make a donation. That's how we're going to run this, by donation. And again, that donation will be a product item on What on Earth is Happening donation gifts. Once we confirm the venue and the date, I will put that donation item on gifts.whatonearthishappening.com, and you will be able to donate to be able to go in person. Now, I want to say this. The venue is not an extremely large venue. It holds about 200 people. So we have to cap it as soon as we hit the venue capacity, because we can't exceed fire marshal limits of the building. So we will only be selling 200 tickets to this live event in Hightstown, New Jersey. So I'll let everybody know when the tickets are available. Invitations, I should say. We're not going to have physical tickets, but invites by donation are not available yet. They will be available once we confirm the venue and the date. And then you could basically secure your live attendance at gifts.whatonearthishappening.com. More on that later. So, huge announcement there. Really excited about that. I've been working with a local activist group here in Philadelphia called Don't Tread on Philly. Great group of people. And they've been doing happy hours in a couple of different locations in the city of Philadelphia. This largely started during the whole lockdowns, during the scamdemic bullshit. And we had a lot of people attending back then when it was a hot item. Then after they, lifted mandates and things like that for masks and, so-called vaccination requirements for entering venues in Philadelphia, it kind of petered out. It kind of lost its steam a little bit. The happy hours that they were doing, they are still going, and people do still attend, but I saw numbers trailing off. So I wanted to try to revive this by myself advertising it on my social media and branding it as being co-hosted by What on Earth is Happening. And I'm glad to say we did the first one last month here at a local venue, not too far from where I'm at in South Philadelphia. And we had a tremendous turnout, just a great turnout overall. We had, I'd say there was over 30 people there. So very happy with the turnout last month. I want to announce the get-together for happy hour this month. So DTOP, or Don't Tread on Philly Happy Hour, is a social meetup for people concerned about loss of freedom. And many people should be concerned about that, because that is exactly what has been going on and what is going on. And if we don't stop it, what will continue to be going on. This takes place on the second Wednesday of every month. Second Wednesday happy hour. And I bill this as come on out to enjoy like minds, friendly discussions, networking with other people who share your mindset, and working towards solutions together. And that is indeed what the whole Don't Tread on Philly group is all about. So the next one is going to be taking place Wednesday, January 11th. That's this Wednesday. So this Wednesday, January 11th, 2023, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Philadelphia time. That's East Coast time. It's free to attend. There is no cost associated with this whatsoever. Just feel free to come on out if you are in the Philadelphia area. It takes place at a little bar called The Dive, tongue-in-cheek. It's actually a pretty nice place. Kind of 70s-ish, 80s-ish, it's like a retro South Philly bar, which I think is cool, personally. I mean, that's my set. The 80s were really my, favorite decade. So, it's kind of a throwback to that. A lot of people really like that when they see it. But it's on the second floor of Dive Bar, and that's at 947 East Passio Avenue here in South Philadelphia. So again, come on out and check out the Don't Tread on Philly happy hour this Wednesday, January 11th, 6 p.m. at the Dive in South Philly. Now, I want to get into the What on Earth is Happening IPFS project for a moment because I'm a little bit upset about how this project went. And I promised I'm not going to get super upset and angry. I'm going to keep it level, and I'm going to just explain why I'm disappointed. So let me take a drink here before I even get into this. All right. So last year I began this project in the early part of the year. And the goal was we wanted to have 10 IPFS nodes, official What on Earth is Happening IPFS nodes, running by the end of the year. And we hit a number last year, which was very disappointing regarding how many IPFS nodes people actually helped us to get up and running and online. And that number was 0. Goose egg. Okay, now, I want to say this. One person really tried. So I'm not going to say his whole name, but Eric, thank you so much for your efforts. You really tried. And the problem was living in the EU, this one individual who really gave a great effort to get one of these nodes running. Unfortunately, his internet service provider will not allow access to port mapping, which allows you to open a necessary port that is needed to run an IPFS node. Just imagine this, that this is how closed even internet access is already in the European Union, that you cannot go into the router that you use through your ISP and open a port so that it can negotiate traffic to and from the outside. We could not get the port open on his router. Obviously, they probably want you to upgrade to business class internet or some shit like that. But to do that in America, in almost every ISP, it's very simple. You log into the router, you go to the port forward settings, you choose the port, you choose the IP you want to map it to, and you're done. You hit save and you're done. This is like normal everyday stuff for anybody that does anything beyond just opening up a web browser and browsing web pages. It's like if you want to use computers in a certain way, you got to understand how networking ports work. So yes, there is one port that we specifically need to open for an IPFS node. And we could not get that done because, unfortunately, his ISP would not cooperate with us and give us access to his router to do that, which is, I find, utterly amazing. They have a weird dual router setup there where the one router only they can connect to and do anything with, and then they give you a second internal router for your LAN. Oh, no, yeah, you can open up ports on that one. You can connect to that and open up ports all day, but that's only controlling the LAN settings. If you want a WAN port opened up so you can actually have traffic routed from the internet to an internal computer, you can't do that. Which, again, is just, it's tyranny. I mean, that's digital tyranny. That's them locking down what you can do on your own internal network through your ISP, which is total bullshit. But I do want to say one individual made a sincere effort to get a node running. So thank you. I appreciate that effort. Unfortunately, zero other people even bothered to make an effort. We got no one that even contacted us during the entire 2/3 of the year from when Eric contacted us and tried with the node where he was at. From that point, we got nobody even inquiring about this project. And let me just say what the project is. I'm not even going to get into technical details. Listen to what the project is so that you understand it, because I know most people are technologically dunces. They're total technological dunces. It's not just that they're illiterate. They're, huh? Alicia, I don't know what you're talking about. Literally, that's what they are. And this is the problem. This is what makes them the problem. You're part of the problem. Yes, you are. No, I'm not wrong. No, you're not correct. I'm correct in what I'm saying. That if you're a technological dunce, you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem of human slavery, because the only thing that can end it is enough people speaking out and putting their information out digitally to the entirety of the world so that the maximum amount of people can get the knowledge, can get the conceptual ideas. That's it. That's the truth, and that's the only answer and the only solution. If you're not part of that, you're part of the problem of keeping things exactly how they are. Yes, that's true. No, I'm not incorrect. And yes, if you think so, you're wrong. And I gotta be this harsh, folks. And here's the thing. This season, I'm gonna do nothing but hammer on this. All show, just about every show. I'm going to explain to you, if you don't get your technological skill sets under your belt, I don't care how old you are, I don't care what walk of life you come from, if you're not competent enough to just record a basic podcast and put it out into the world as audio, you're not doing your job and you're part of the fucking problem. Get over it. It's true. That's the truth. And yes, to the extent that people know what's going on, they could then put the data out there. I'm not asking a total moron that doesn't know what's going on to go and speak out on a podcast and spout sputum bullshit, obviously. I am asking people who do know what's going on not to be silent. If you are knowledgeable and you are silent, you are complicit. If you're not knowledgeable, become knowledgeable. That's what all the content that's out there is for, to make it easier for you to become knowledgeable. You get the process. I hope you get what I'm saying, because that's what needs to be understood. That is the solution. So anyway, here's what I'm going to say regarding this. If I don't get a minimum of 5 nodes up by June, no, I'll give it till the end of the year. Now, look, I'm going to make an ultimatum. I don't want to have to do this, but I have to. I have to make an ultimatum. I have to. I must do it. And this is going to show you things that upset me, things that I get angry about, and things I'm going to take action about. I'm going to take action about it. And here's how I'm going to take action. And I don't give a fuck who doesn't like it. If you don't like it, you can shove it up your ass. But this is how it's going to work. If I don't get 5 official What on Earth is Happening IPFS nodes up by the end of this year, by December of this year, there will be no What on Earth is Happening show until we hit that number. Now, it's going to be 5 this year. And I think that should grow every year. But I'll reduce my former desire of 10 for 1 year, and I'll say, in the year of 2023, if 5 nodes don't go up the way I want them to go up, not just an average person doing things how they want, an official What on Earth is Happening IPFS node, 5 of them need to go up this year, or there will be no What on Earth is Happening show next year. I will only do the How to Become the True Media seminar, and I'll advertise it however I have to advertise it to get students to come into it. It won't be through What on Earth is Happening show, because it will be canceled. So let's just be an asshole and put the ultimatum out there. People are going to help me distribute my knowledge and my information in an uncensorable fashion, or there will be no show. And that's how it's got to happen, because people are fucking children. People are fucking children that don't want to take the responsibility to participate in a project for themselves when they're actually doing nothing else. They don't want to contribute resources. They don't want to contribute time. They don't want to contribute effort. So what I have to say to them is, then fuck you. I'm not going to just keep doing everything for free just because you want to keep hearing my voice on Sunday and hear me do new shows. It doesn't work that way. I need to get something in return in as far as effort is concerned. In as far as helping me to put my information out there and make sure it doesn't get taken down. So that's it. 5 nodes go up by the end of the year, or What on Earth is Happening doesn't come back online in 2024. That's it. Okay? Now, nasty business aside, let me tell you what the IPFS project is. And let me not even do it in technical terms. You don't even need to understand the technicality. Here's what you would be doing for me. You would be doing this for me personally. Okay? If you respect me, if you respect my work, if you respect anything that What on Earth is Happening represents, here's one of the least that you could do. Here's one of the least things that you can fucking do. I'm asking you to put an additional computer in your home and run it as a server with existing bandwidth that you have. That's it. That's all I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to put a computer in your house and just let it sit there. You don't really need to do a damn thing. You might need to help get it plugged in, get it initially configured, which I'll do all the technical work. I'm going to do all of that technical work remotely. We'll set up remote access on the computer. This is a dedicated computer. None of your stuff's going to be on here. It's going to be all of my material served on the IPFS network. That's it. It's a computer in your house that you make available. It's got to be dedicated to this. And there's all specifications and things like that on the website at that page listed there. But my point is, it's not one of your computers that you bring to the table. You buy a mini computer and you let it sit in your house and run the IPFS node. That's it. There is nothing for you to do. I am the administrator of the node. I will have remote access only to that node, to that one computer on your LAN, on your local area network. And I will administrate it. You need to do no administration tasks. Think about how easy I'm making it for people. All it is you're donating that you're going to get a computer and put it in your house and let me put an IPFS node on it. You don't even need to do any of the technical shit. All year, this project was available for people to help to immortalize my information by making sure it can never be censored or taken down. And one person in the EU really tried his best from his technical perspective, his technical know-how, to do this. And I tried to get it done there as well, and we could not do it. We got the node running with all the data on it, but it was unreachable from the outside because we could not get the port that we needed open. A simple technical networking task. I could do this in my sleep in 30 seconds. And because the ISPs in the EU are this tyrannical about what you're allowed to do on your own LAN, we could not get the port open. And that's disgusting. That's disgusting to me. Okay? So, I know I'm harping on this one thing, which some people would think, oh, this is some not important thing, because they don't know what IPFS is, because they're technological dunces, that's what I'm going to call people from now on, when they don't know anything about technology. You're a technological dunce, because the word dunce is a pretty ugly word that people don't want to hear themselves called, but that's what they are. They're dunces. Go sit in the corner with a dunce cap on. All right, look, I'm angry about it, and I said I wasn't going to get viciously angry about it, but it's bothersome, because what it's basically saying to me is that not even one person in America could say, Mark, thank you for your work to such an extent, I'll put one fucking computer in my house to help you. Imagine doing this for 15 years now. Over 15 years. And one human being doesn't say, I want to host your information so that it's uncensorable. Not one. I shouldn't have to say anything else, folks. I'm being thrown the fuck out of my house through legal robbery. I have to move my whole base of operations, which is going to be an extremely stressful thing. Not one human being said, I'll put a computer in my house to help make your information immortal and uncensorable. Not one. Zero. One person tried and failed, not due to his shortcomings, due to his ISP shortcomings, which is why I say thank you for your efforts. It wasn't his fault that we couldn't get the node finally finished and being completely up and reachable. And oh well, that's the way it goes. But to everybody else, it's like you can't really even be bothered. And this is the problem. Most people have no work of their own, and you won't help somebody host their work. That's the problem. And it's not going to be any sweat off your brow. It ain't going to be any big burden. It's not going to be any hardship. You know, you shell out a little bit of money and resources to get a small computer, and you put it in a corner in your room, in your house, a corner of a room in your house, and you forget it's there. I can't even have anybody help me do that. I don't have the bandwidth to do it. I need the bandwidth to host the streaming servers that I'm using here and to run my show. One person can't do it all. They can't put 1 million computers in their house and not saturate their bandwidth and then be able to do nothing. I'm pushing my bandwidth now on my fiber optic internet connection. I'm asking somebody with a decent internet connection to help me share my work online. They can't even do that, and they don't have any work of their own. I'm not supposed to get angry about it. And then I'm going to give an ultimatum, and then people are going to say I'm the fucking bad guy. Go fuck yourself. I'm not the bad guy. The people who won't lift a fucking finger to help are the bad guys. All right? Let's make that perfectly fucking clear. So that's all I have to say about the IPFS project. It's been a laughable joke so far. And now we got to make it an ultimatum. Now, in order to make it not a joke, I gotta threaten to take something away, like a fucking baby, like a toddler, or like a child, you know, a prepubescent child that you got to take away one of his toys if he doesn't finish his dinner, you know, or clean his room. I mean, this is what this community is like. No responsibility, no know-how, no skill sets, no fucking responsibility. And then people want to know, Mark, why are you angry? Get the fuck out of here. Why am I angry? I'm fucking enslaved. Everybody around me is fucking enslaved. Morons don't even know that government is slavery and keep fucking simping for it. And I'm caught up in that slavery when I'm an actual moral human being, and I've put out 15 years of fucking work and I can't even get somebody to help host the fucking work. Why am I angry? Anybody saying that, you got your head so far up your ass you'll never get it out. And again, like I said, I'm sorry I got to start off the year with that kind of negativity, but oh fucking well. It's what it is. And I want to show people where their shortcomings are at. And here's why. Look, let me finish the slideshow here because I want to get into this before I go to calls. And by the way, calls are now on Telegram. I'm running a Telegram group for the calls. To visit the Telegram group, just go to whatonearthishappening.com/call. It'll connect you in with Telegram, and you could join the Telegram group that we're taking calls on. So, calls coming up in the second hour, which we're already approaching. But in the last couple minutes before we go to the lines, I'll just say the ARC 2.0 drive is still available. I send out ARCs here every single week. Check it out at whatonearthishappening.com/ARC. You send me a hard drive or a solid state drive, I fill it up with over 26,000 audio files, over 9,500 books, over 3,400 videos, and then I ship it back to you. There are rigid shipping requirements to protect your property and to make sure it makes the round trip safely. So check it out at whatonearthishappening.com/ARC. To get any hard copies of my work on flash drive, DVD, the whole One Great Work Passio collection on one solid state drive, to make a technology donation, to get the natural law documentary, t-shirts, T-shirts, coasters, keychains, stickers, etc. Tons of gift items to choose from up there. What on Earth is Happening donation gifts. The website is gifts.whatonearthishappening.com. If people don't support us by making donations through What on Earth is Happening donation gifts, I'm not going to have to threaten to take What on Earth is Happening down or stop doing the show next year. I won't have the resources to continue to do any of this. If you guys don't support the efforts here, I can't continue to do this and just bleed money on it for free. It's got to be a group-funded effort. And it's not been great. It's not been 100% terrible, but in the past, it was much better. Now, I know people, we're under hard financial times, but I'm just, and other content creators say the same thing, but it's true. If you don't support content creators, we can't continue to operate. That's it. We're going through the same hard financial, disastrous times as everybody else. So if the community doesn't support the efforts that we're doing through donation resources, we can't just keep doing this for free and for nothing, because that will just deplete our resources and bleed us dry. And I'm not going to do that. That's going to hurt me in return for doing this work. Look, folks, I've done so much work that if I never said another syllable, it would be more work than most people will put out in 100 lifetimes. Seriously. And I think anybody with a brain in their skull case recognizes that I've already put out so much work. I could stay silent for the rest of my life, and my life goal, my life's mission will have been fulfilled. I did what I came here to do. But I'll keep speaking if I continue to be supported. But if I don't receive any support and it's totally destroying my ability to live, then no, I cannot hurt myself like that in order to just keep doing this for free for other people. I've done that enough in the past and gone through those types of hardships to just put the work out there. And it's out there. It's out there. What you're going to hear more than anything else is me trying to inspire and encourage other people to start putting work out there. Not everybody's going to take it from Mark Passio. Let's face it. Not everybody's capable of hearing me, because they can't put their finger into the outlet it's like a lightning bolt. There's too much energy, and there's too much truth, and there's too much power. And it going into them is like them getting struck by lightning. They can't handle the discharge. And yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's somebody who has never communed with truth and has no ability to absorb it. And I'm like, it's rushing over the falls like Niagara Falls, and they can't handle that power. That's really what it is. And so other people got to maybe step it down and give it to them in a different way. We need a myriad of styles and approaches. That's what we need. That's why it's important for each individual to speak out. If you're not speaking out, you're part of the problem. You're not part of the solution. Let me say that again. If you're not speaking out, you're part of the problem. You're not part of the solution. If you know and you're staying silent, you're part of the problem. You're not part of the solution. If you know and you don't do, you're part of the problem. You're not part of the solution. And if you don't support the efforts of an operation like this, you're letting us go by the wayside. So please check out all of the items available at gifts.whatonearthishappening.com as gifts in return for a donation. If you want to make a straight donation that we keep 100% of, whatonearthishappening.com/donate. Tons of ways to make donations there. Many different cryptocurrencies, Cash App, GPay, our Amazon wish list for smaller tech items. I think there is one sub $1,000 item on the Amazon wish list right now that's going to be used as a storage drive for the new server. So, somewhat expensive solid state drive, but we're also going to require one of those. So, again, I like to do secondary drives. I don't like to put all of the data on the operating system drive. I usually use a storage drive, and then I'll have a backup hard drive attached as well. So we'll probably attach 2 drives to the Mac Studio once we get it, and this will be the data storage drive, and then we'll have probably a 14 or 16 terabyte external regular hard drive acting as the backup drive for the whole system. So, whatonearthishappening.com/donate. Those are all the slides I have. I'm going to step back to the title card and leave that there because I don't really have any slides for what I want to talk about today and what I'm going to talk about when we hit the phones in about a couple minutes. I just want to say this. More and more of What on Earth is Happening here on the air is going to be focused on the psychology of the people who are doing nothing. The psychology of the people who are just waiting and watching and listening, and that's it. But they never convert their own behavior into action in the world. And that's the majority of our audience, let's face it. I am talking about the majority of people listening. You, look at me. You, look right here. You. No, not him, not her. No, we're not talking about them. You are the one I'm talking about. That's the problem. Go look in the mirror. Don't look at the CFR. Don't look at the Bilderberg Group. Don't look at, the WEF or any of the other dark occult organizations, the Bohemian Club, etc. Look in the mirror. The problem's there. The problem's not with the people who are the elitists of the world. They're less than 0.5%. They're nothing. They're old windbag white farts smoking cigars, and not all of them are white, but they're largely older, largely men. There are women within it. I've talked about this before, but look, it's old control freak farts that are windbags telling other people what to do, that if you backhanded them, they would explode like a plastic bag full of talcum powder. That's how fragile these losers are. They're losers who can't do their dirty work with their own hands because they're weak. They're weak cowards. They know if they came to me and said, boy, you're going to do this and I'm going to force it on you, that first of all, you'd get clapped out, number one. I wouldn't even touch your soily, greasy, garbage face. One of these Satanists / globalists would get clapped the fuck out of life if they did that to me. And number two, if I just give them a swift backhand, their head would fucking explode like a fucking plastic bag full of powder. That's how weak and totally incontinent and fucking old fart fucking losers they are. You're loser, weak control freaks, you old fucking farts. That's what you are. You wouldn't come up to a fucking man and try to command him because you get clapped out, boy. That's what would happen to you. You wouldn't do it because you're not a fucking man. You're a weakling fucking loser. You're a fearful weakling control freak loser, just like your fucking minions are. Just like your low-life fucking minions in the police and the military who follow your orders. You follow the orders of weak, low-life trash because you're weak, low-life trash. And what we need to do is we need to get into the psychology, not of those people because they're the fucking total losers of the world. We need to get into the psychology of the people that know exactly what I just said is the complete truth and why you're not saying it. Because you're either lazy, you're a fucking coward yourself, you're weak, you're stuck telling yourself stories in your own mind that you think are true about yourself. You're stuck in trauma that happened in the past that isn't the current situation. You're stuck believing things that are limitations that you can't do. And I'm talking to 1 million people out there that could be doing the great work. And you're sitting on your fucking thumbs. You got your thumbs up your ass and you're sitting on your hands. That's what's going on. And folks, once again, I didn't come here with the intention on just screaming at everybody. I need to tell you in a passionate way, your effort isn't good enough. It hasn't been good enough. It's not good enough now. If you continue with the effort that is a slouchy, losery effort, you're making a slouchy, loser-ass effort. You're not pushing yourself to learn. You're not pushing yourself to do. You're sitting on your fucking hands saying, let Mark do that. Let somebody else do that. Let David Icke do that. Let Alex Jones do that. Let whoever do that. No, not fucking good enough. Not fucking good enough. You guys need to get up off your lazy fucking asses and work and do something. The answer is you need to put work of your own out. We need more voices. Think about how many voices of treachery and tyranny and deception reach people's eyes and ears every fucking goddamn day. Are you helping to dispel those completely wrong thoughts and ideas? Are you lending your voice to the voice of truth? Be honest with yourself and say, how much more powerful? Ask the question, how much more powerful is the voice of the lie active in the world today than is the voice of the truth? If you don't understand that the lie is so much stronger than the voice of the truth, if you put all of the aggregate lie, the voices of lies that are bombarding everybody every single goddamn day, and put all of that together, and then you look at people speaking out and trying to tell people the accurate truth of what's really going on regarding objective morality, natural law, and human slavery and human tyranny that we are living under. You are a delusional fucking imbecile if you think that the lie isn't 1,000,000 times more powerful than the truth. It's a paltry, bullshit, loser effort. Let me say that again. And I'm not berating anybody. I'm saying what's honest. That no one else will say this. You don't hear any other podcast like this. You don't hear any other broadcast like this. Nobody else will say it to somebody because they want to be liked. I don't give a fuck about being liked. I don't give a fuck whether you hate me. I don't care. That's meaningless to me. I want to be free and I want you to be free. That's it. I want you to have your natural rights intact and I want mine. Then we can go our separate ways and we never even need to fucking ever see each other, know about each other. I don't give a fuck what you do. And you should not give a fuck about what I do. Who gives a shit? We're living our lives, and that's what we should be doing. But we should be free in doing that. Not enslaved, not under duress, not having our rights intact. And that means understanding objective morality and natural law. And if you're not actively putting your voice and lending to that effort of making that common sense knowledge, you are the problem. You are the problem. And what I want to talk about constantly this year is, what is the psychological fucking block that you have? There is something wrong with you. No, the people say, oh, you're good enough the way you are. Wrong. That's new age bullshit. You're not good enough. Your effort's not good enough. You are not good enough of a person if you're not doing this at this time in history. If you are not actively doing something like this at this time in history, you're not a good person. If you know the evil that the world is up against and you're not speaking out against that evil, you are complicit in the evil. You're complicit in the evil. And that's the problem. That's the problem. And there's only one solution to that problem, and that's people who say that they're good and say that they know what's going on speaking out openly. And you got to develop the fucking courage and you got to develop the willpower to do it. Because right now, you're fucking cowardly, you're fucking lazy, and you're not taking any right action. I know many of the people here are not ignorant. You understand what's going on. You've heard all of the things about what's going on. And I hear people saying all kinds of shit, folks. I hear them saying, oh, Passio doesn't talk about solutions. Oh, all he talks about is the dark occult being the problem. Oh, he only talks about mind control being the problem. Wrong, loser. You're wrong. You haven't listened enough. Any of you losers. You're fucking weakling losers who listen to a soundbite and then turn it off and then think you know what the fuck it's about and you don't know shit. You don't know shit. You haven't fucking listened to the totality of what I've said because you got the attention span of a fucking snail. And that's the problem. Fucking weak losers with no attention span, with no skills, with no fucking drive. I've told people a million times on this show, when I was around the dark occultists that I was around, I had nothing but respect for them. Until I really learned that they're complete sick psychopaths trying to enslave everybody. But guess what? Barring that, let's set that aside for a moment, as difficult as that may be to do. They were the most intelligent, driven people that I've ever been in a room with. You never needed to tell them what to do. You never needed to tell them get up off their lazy asses. They were driven motherfuckers from morning, noon, and night. I was almost like, do you guys ever sleep? And the answer is really no. Evil doesn't sleep. See? But we're lazy losers who are always sleeping, not doing anything. Even if we say we know, who gives a shit whether you know? You can know everything. You can know a billion times more than me. And your effort would still be a paltry, losery piece of dog shit dump on the ground. If you're not taking real world action. Okay? And it's got to be said like that to people, unfortunately, to get through their thick fucking skulls. Because that's all they are. They're thick losers. Thick-skulled losers. That's what we have in this community. A bunch of thick-skulled losers. I'm talking to my own listening audience. I'm talking to the so-called anarchists out there. You guys, the vast majority of you guys don't know what the fuck's really going on. You think you have an inkling of what's going on, but because your behavior doesn't actually go out into the world and reflect that knowledge, I know that you really don't. You just say that you do. You're just making the claim you really know what's going on, but not really. Not truly. You know? If you really did, if you really knew the evil that this world was completely captured by, there would be no question. You'd have no doubt. There would be no hesitancy. There would be no doubt. You would know what you need to do. And you'd do it. If you're not doing the true solution to end slavery on this planet, which is speak out to other people, not just in person, but create media to put online so it's immortalized and you could speak it out to other people. And I'm not talking about just through fucking YouTube or Facebook or Twitter. Not the big tech companies. I'm talking about put it out on a website, link to it, upload it to Odyssey, which is at least blockchain based, and then put it on a website. Put it on IPFS. Put it someplace that is immortal, that it's not going to get censored. Just speak. Speak even if you get censored. Just speak. The solution is more speech. The solution is more education. If you're not putting your voice toward the education of your fellow human beings, you're not part of the solution. You're part of the problem. We have to get into the psychology of those people. The dark occultists are a tiny, 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 tiny group of people. Their minions are a small group of people. It's a bigger percentage than the dark occult, but it's not even the vast majority of people. We need to reach the vast majority of people to make natural law and objective morality common sense knowledge. And in order to do that, we got to get past what is their psychological barrier. What is the barrier that does not allow them to act? And here's what it is, folks. The commonality in every one of those people is that they have had some form of trauma in their past, and that trauma has instilled within them, inside of themselves, a bullshit story. Let me say this again to make it very clear. This needs to be deeply understood, because if we're going to help these people who are going to be the people who are really going to enact the solution, get past where their problem is, we need to get through their psychological barrier that keeps them in a form of trauma and self-loathing and inaction that will not allow them to develop the internal courage and strength and willpower and healing to be able to do the great work. We need the voice of the truth to become more powerful than the voice of the lie by making objective morality and natural law, common sense knowledge, by making it common sense knowledge that government is slavery and must be ended, that it is based on violence, it is based on coercion, it is based on duress, which is the threat of violence. We need to start calling it slavery out in the open. And people are like, oh, don't you think that's harsh? No, it's exactly true. It's not currently ball and shackle slavery. See? That's the problem, is that people have in their fucking deluded, ignorant minds that the only form of slavery is ball and shackle slavery. No, the only form of slavery is not ball, chain, and shackle slavery. I'm sorry. But if you believe that, you're a fucking imbecile and you're wrong. You're an imbecile. You haven't studied history. You don't understand there's many other forms of slavery. There's covert slavery, which is what we're really living in. And covert slavery is driven by duress. The implied direct threat of violence. You're not actively doing the violence yet, but you're saying if you don't comply, we will come and do the violence. That's called duress. That's slavery. That's coercion. That's putting somebody under your will. That's putting somebody under your thumb. That's immoral. That's violence. That's slavery. If you don't understand that that's what government is, you're just a fucking dumb dunce by this point, because we've illustrated billions of times that that is what all of the actions of government are claims of ownership, claims of if you don't comply, we have the right to do violence to you. No, government does not just protect. If you believe that, you're delusional and a fucking little child in your mentality and your psychology. It does direct violence and commands that you may not execute rights that you do have, that you are allowed under natural law to do. And then it would say, we're going to curtail them. It does make and support incorrect claims, non-righteous claims. Somebody has placed a non-righteous claim upon my property and the state has agreed with them and is taking this property from my use. The nerve. And then people like that would say that they're good people. You're nothing but fucking trash. Absolute immoral fucking garbage trash. Under God's eyes, you're trash. Nothing needs to ever happen to them in this life, ever. They are going to face the judgment of the creator of the universe. And they don't believe that. And some fucking morons listening to the sound of my voice don't believe that. And you're all fucking deluded morons. Because let me tell you something. You are going to face the consequences of the creator of the universe for the behavior that you conduct and condone while you are alive here. If you don't believe that that's what life is all about, you haven't figured it out yet, loser. You haven't figured it out yet, you dumb fucking loser. And I'm going to say it just like that, and I'll say it just like that right to your fucking face. And see if I won't. Because you think I care about anything that happens in the physical domain here. You're nuts. Yeah, I'll abide by the whole ruling of the court because it's not worth not being able to do any of my work because they're going to send thugs who believe that they have the right to come and just throw somebody out of property that is rightfully theirs and they're rightfully using. But that's the violence of the state. That's the violence of the state. And that's what people want to leverage who are cowards. You're cowards, so you run to the cult. Nobody would have ever dared to try to take a place that somebody's living in from them by force. They won't do it. They certainly wouldn't have done it to me. So they'll go to the state and leverage that violence. And you know what that's called? That's called being an immoral, cowardly fucking loser. And that's just even knowing that that's the kind of person you are. Zero even worse thoughts need to happen because I just know that you're an immoral, cowardly fucking loser in life. You know? Anybody that supports that whole decision is an immoral, cowardly fucking loser in life. They just received trash parenting. They can't do the right thing. They don't care about doing the right thing. And they're just, all they give a shit about is money and resources. And that makes you trash, loser. So that's all I really have to say about that whole situation. And anybody ancillarily involved. You know? It's amazing that your parents fucked you up as bad as they fucked you up. Because they must have been fucking some losery fucking trash too, man. I mean, the parents of people like that are just absolute fucking lowlifes. And that's what you really need to be called. You're a fucking lowlife. A lowlife. That I find is the best word. You don't need a nasty street slur even. The accurate thing that they really are is a fucking lowlife. You know? You're a lowbrow, lowlife individual. That's what they are. Now, there's nothing wrong with me calling them that in a nasty way. That's speaking what's true. You see, that's the problem. People be, oh, you're saying a curse word and you're talking like that. Go shove your own head up your ass where it belongs, where it already is. Oh, you don't even need to do any work to do that. It's there already. You know? People like that, you don't understand righteous indignation. People say, why get so upset, Mark? Because there's injustice taking place and good people get upset when injustice is going on all around them. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you, you low-life fucking loser who never gets mad at injustice because you're a piece of fucking immoral trash? That's the real answer. And that's how it has to really be said. And, you know, I mean, I've been around some people where I've almost just come out and said it that nastily. You know, I'm a hair's breadth from saying it that viciously. And then I'm going to say, what the fuck you going to do? What's your next move? Because you better be sure about it. You hear me? You better be sure. Think on it and be sure. Because I'm sure. And we can leave today. Let's just put it that way. You hear where I'm coming from, babe? We can leave today. So be sure. Just be sure. And, you know, going back to the people who stay silent or who think about it like that. Oh, just live your life. Just be happy. Oh, why can't you just not be angry? Because I'm a good person and you're a fucking low-life, immoral loser. That's why. That's why I can't just live my life and be happy, because there's injustice taking place everywhere all around us, and good people don't sit there and say, let me just be fucking happy while injustice goes around all around them, you fucking dunce. Why should I even have to explain that to another human being, loser? That's the whole fucking problem, loser. What we need to do is get inside these fucking inactive, lazy people's psychology who aren't speaking out and who aren't adding to the voice of the truth, who aren't expanding the voice of the truth. And we need to get into the reasons why they're holding on to past trauma. They're still in a state of self-loathing. They're still in a state of cowardice. And they're still in a state that they're telling themselves a bullshit story about their capabilities. Just because you don't know how to do something right now at this second. Sorry, I think our stream glitched there for a second. It looks like it's back and okay. Just because you don't know how to do something in the moment doesn't mean that you can't learn how to do it. And this is what everybody has going on in their mind. They think learning, especially about something that they're initially intimidated by, is an impossible process for them. No, it isn't. It's just work. It's just you do have to exert energy. You do have to put time in. You do have to take it seriously. You do have to push yourself. And that's the problem, is your fucking low-life fucking parents didn't fucking instill any of those things in you. That's the problem, is bad parenting. People's parents just sat back and said, just do whatever the fuck you want, be as lazy as you fucking want to be. That's the whole fucking problem. I'm telling you, almost the vast majority of this listening audience, your parents failed you in that respect. Let's make it fucking personal. Let's make it real personal now. You want to talk about my parents? Go ahead. Fucking losers that fucking led me into Satanism. I'll say it. You don't need to fucking say it. Immoral fucking losers that led me into fucking Satanism by their fucking selfish mentality. How about that? I'll just say it right there. I don't give a fuck if they're listening. It's the truth. And I'll bend to the fucking truth. Even about myself, my own family members, it doesn't fucking matter. What's true is true. But you better be correct about it. You better get it right. And I do have it right. I spent the time and resources into making sure I have it correct. And I have it correct. That doesn't mean I can't be wrong about anything, but when it comes to speaking this information, I have it correct. I've run it through the trivium so many times I couldn't count. And meticulously, to the extent that most people won't even ever know how to do, let alone do. And that's the problem, is you got a bunch of fucking bad parenting out there leading to bad behavior as adults and inactive behavior as adults. Just sitting back, waiting for somebody else to do their work. You're waiting for somebody else to clean your fucking room, to make you dinner, to do whatever. It's like just sitting waiting for anybody to do any life skill for you. But this is the most important one. Speaking out against fucking tyranny and evil. And you'll sit back and let other people do that instead of contributing to that voice. And you don't think that makes you a bad fucking person? That makes you the worst fucking kind of person. The worst fucking kind. You gotta stop telling yourself the bullshit story that you believe, that other people instilled in you. I'm not intelligent enough. I'm not skilled enough. No shit, you're not. That doesn't mean you can't become intelligent. That doesn't mean you can't learn. That doesn't mean you can't develop skills over time. No, you just don't want to. You just want to sit and have all your time to yourself. That's the whole fucking problem. I bust my ass doing this stuff. Yeah, so hold on, wait a minute. The magical gnomes have arrived. They're asking me right now, when do you want me to build your next interface for your show? Shall we make some more slides for your upcoming presentations? We'll get right on that. No, I don't sit and bust my ass every night, every day, sitting in this chair, sweating like an animal, busting my ass to do that work, missing out on beautiful days that I can go out and spend days doing what I want. No. The magical media creation gnomes have come in. They sit in my chair for me and they do all the work for me. You don't fucking know, loser. I'm just so tired of people. Look, folks, I'm tired of people. I'm becoming a nasty, cranky fuck. By my own admission, and it's just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse as time goes on, because I'm not seeing the progress. If I was seeing the progress, you'd see me be a much nicer human being. Yes, it's dependent. No, I'm not. I'm going to willfully make it like that. It isn't that I can't. That's the correct response, is that I'm not going to be nice. I'm going to be more vicious to people. I'm going to be more fucking hurtful in my words. Because what you're doing, what you're saying to me is, fuck you and your time. I can't be bothered to help unchain you. I'm not even worried about my own chains. Fuck yours. Imagine this. Imagine two slaves sitting in a plantation and one of them saying, come on, let's get ourselves out of here. And the other one goes, how dare you? You're stealing from master. You're stealing yourself, and you want me to steal myself from master? That's what you're fucking saying to me. And you're too dumb to even realize it. When I'm asking for help and you're saying I can't be bothered to fucking help, you fucking loser. What am I supposed to do? Say warm, encouraging, fuzzy, fucking kind words to you? Get the fuck out of my face. You're helping to enslave me and yourself, asshole. And if you have a head, if you have a brain between the fucking plates in your fucking head, skull fucking bones, you know that what I'm saying is exactly the truth, ass. I can't even make it lighthearted derision like I was doing a couple years back with the fucking clown shoes and the slide whistle. I don't even feel like that anymore to even try to make it like that. I want to make it like a sharp blade entering the fucking heart. Because that's all anybody deserves, as far as words go. I want to get to calls, but I want to finish my thoughts on this. People are telling themselves a story in their mind that was implanted there like a virus from other people all around them saying, you can't do this. This isn't for you. You don't need to know this. You can't learn this. You're not smart enough. You're not driven enough. Well, it's all a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right in either instance. Start telling yourself a different story psychologically. All of you. All of you. One thing I got to say, plenty of people said, oh, you can't. And I just said, you're a fucking loser. Go fuck yourself. You don't know. Don't ever say, I can't to me. Say that about your fucking own loser self, but don't say it about me, because I will and I do. And I have. Past tense. You don't know what my fucking will is. You don't know what I'll do. Most people don't know what I have done. And they don't know what I will do in the future. And when people tell me I can't, I'll throw a middle finger in their face and tell them to go fuck themselves. You don't know anything about what I'll do. You don't know anything about anything you're capable of doing. You're going to tell me what I'm going to do. Get away from me, loser. That's my mental attitude. And that should be your mental attitude when it comes to people telling you can't, or even yourself telling you can't. When you hear yourself telling yourself you can't, you need to say, hey, that voice, get the fuck away from me, loser. Get the fuck, yeah, that's not really part of me. That's not who I am. Get out of here. Take off. You don't hear me ever saying it's impossible. It can't be done. Go back. You won't hear me say it. I'll say it's not being done actively right now because of people's fucking loser ass attitude. Yeah. I'll tell you the honesty in the moment of where the dynamic is at, but you never heard me say it's impossible and it cannot be done. Where there is a will, there is a way. That's what needs to be developed. Understand that phrase. If the will is present, then the way opens up unto you. And that way can be walked and it can be accomplished. But if there's no will present, forget it. It's over. It's over before it ever begins if there's no will present. And that's the problem with most people. And let me tell you where it came from psychologically. It came from your loser ass fucking parents. So I don't give a fuck. That offends you, so fucking what? I don't care. It's true. Most people's parents didn't instill willpower in them. Most people's parents didn't instill curiosity in them. Most people's parents didn't instill drive in them. They taught them to give up. They taught them if it's hard, drop it and go do something that makes you happy. No, wrong. Wrong, bad advice. Bad advice. If you want to do it and it's hard, continuing to do it until you get it right. Push yourself. To whatever extent you have to push yourself short of killing yourself. Push your fucking self. It's healthy to push yourself. It's healthy to push your drive forward. Folks, I've been looking for a solution for 3 years to a technical problem and situation. And I kept looking until I found it. And I found it this week. Imagine trying to solve a technological problem for 3 years. That's going to help with putting the word out there to people. 3 years straight, practically, night after night, testing, looking, until I found the solution. I don't even need to get into the technical details. Most people never did that with one detail of their life ever. Because they were taught by their parents, don't continue until you get it right and you make it happen. You have to force it to happen by an act of your will. Especially if you know it's right. Don't force wrong things. But yes, if it's right, you need to make it occur by an act of your will. That is what using the force means for the Star Wars fans among us. You got to get in touch with the care that needs to drive the will to make it occur in the real world. And most people, they're not doing that because their parents taught them otherwise. And that's the psychological problem that we're up against. So that's a big part of what I wanted to talk about. And I want to hear what people think about that when we go to the phone. So let's go to the phones on Telegram and see what we have. So give me a moment. Let's switch over here. And I'm going to put my headset on. And let's see if we can get these calls coming through in our streaming setup. So, let's see who's waiting on Telegram. Okay, let's hear from Axel. Axel, you are live on What on Earth is Happening. Go right ahead. Axel looks like he dropped off. If you come back in, just go ahead and raise your hand. No, you're... Axel, go ahead and unmute yourself. And say something.
Can you
there
hear me
you
now?
go. Say something again.
So, can you hear me now?
Yes, you're coming through. Go right ahead.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah. I understand your first of all, I'm glad to you back on the show.
Thank you.
And I fully agree with your frustration, because the species called humanity, is an experiment gone wrong that belongs to the toilet bowl. Okay?
The vast majority of it, yes. I would say we can still turn that around, but you're correct. That's the human condition right now.
People do not give a shit about what's happening right now, about the injustice, about the evil that this world is becoming every day. Okay, I live in a city called Liverpool, which is a strong left wing city in the UK. Okay, people are done. It's like Philadelphia in United States, where you live. People is just dumb. They keep doing whatever they want. They still don't understand what's happening. And for Mark, to me, it's gonna end very badly. It's gonna have to come to a bloodshed to end all of this, unfortunately, because people don't still understand the moral principle, and it's sad. It doesn't have to go that way, but I think it's gonna have to be.
I agree. We're headed on that path of destruction. We're headed on that path. And you're right, it doesn't have to be that way. We can choose something different, but we have to put our care and will behind enacting that different eventuality, that different outcome. And how many people are really working to do that? It's a small, tiny number that isn't good enough. It's not good enough. It's not enough people. It's not enough of an effort. If you know that 1,000 people can lift a certain amount of weight, and you have 4 people standing around the same amount of weight, you know they're not going to lift it. It doesn't matter how strong they are. It requires 1,000 people to grab the handle and lift it up, and then they'll be able to lift it. But if you have 4 instead of 1,000, it ain't ever going to happen. And that's what we have.
Exactly.
It's no different than that. It's just like a physical law. It's just like a physical dynamic.
I'm very frustrated as you are, Mark, and I feel you. People don't give a shit about nothing. They're just selfish. People think about themselves and nothing else. I'm not saying that to kiss your ass or because I'm part of your One Great Work network, content creator. I'm saying that because it's true. I see it.
You're seeing it in your own local community.
It's frustrating. I'll make you an example, okay? Last year, it was a day in June, okay? I work in a shop. I come outside, do what I had to do. Up in the skies, you could literally see the spraying of chemtrail. It was so bad. I was frustrated. They was spraying it so bad in the sky that I was like, people, I was asking literally to customers, don't you guys see upstairs what they're doing to us with the chemtrails everywhere, spraying us? It was unbelievable. And people say, I don't care. And what is that? I asked some of my colleagues, you know what chemtrails are? No one knows anything.
Unbelievable.
The dumb bags of shit. They're laughing at you. Your owners are laughing at you for not understanding.
Without a doubt. Every day they're just looking at them and laughing.
Every day laughing at you. And they're doing, I don't want to say that, but what? I agree.
Imagine how much they're
It's sad
laughing
to
at the
say
people
that.
who are actually helping them. The police, the military, they're just
Exactly.
laughing at these people uncontrollably. Uncontrollably. Their occult masters are just absolutely dying of laughter from laughing at them. That they are willing to do it to their own kind and enslave themselves. That's how big of pieces of trash that they are. Axel, thank you for your input, man. We got to keep at it. It's still possible. Even at this late hour, it is still possible, but it's going to be a big uphill battle from this point forward. Let's hear from Max. Max, go right ahead. Unmute yourself at your end. There you go. Hey,
Hi,
how
Mark.
are you?
This is Max.
Yes,
can
I
you hear
can.
me? Wow. I'm so glad that I have the opportunity to speak to you. So I'm from Germany and I've been listening to your show and your podcast for a long time. So
What's it like there in
what I
What's it like
first
there in
wanted to-
Germany, in the area of Germany
Yeah.
where you're from?
So the people really have a problem to even jump into the spiritual domain because they're so like in the physical domain that they can't even access information and process what you and what generally people are speaking about.
They've been so
huge barrier
secularized
to-
and cut off from spirituality. Interesting.
Yes, yes, totally. And so what I wanted to bring to this show today is I first of all wanted to thank you for putting out this information, for being like a medium that is really, putting out truth. And secondly, I wanted to like up the mood a little bit. I wanted to say one thing I also learned with you is cursing, cursing in English.
And believe me, I
Because-
don't even want to take it
yeah.
in that bad of a direction, but you know, in all honesty, it's one of the only cathartic outlets that I have for the level of anger and frustration. And people have told me it lights a fire under their ass, and it lets them know in street terms that they're not doing what they need to be doing. Some people are activating and doing the right thing, and those people should be praised and commended. But if people still are not speaking
Yes.
out, or at least involved in the effort to try to get this information out there to the public, they should be ashamed of themselves by this point if they're not already involved in that.
True. I totally agree. And so I say, for me, like I admit it's very, very hard to get into this state of action. But what I'm currently doing is for every day I try to educate my family and just put a little bit of information out there, like a little bit of energy. Like you said, everything too much is just too harsh for
Right.
them. And secondly, what I do is just as easy as that. I have a laptop and I purchase the Zoom license, and I invite my personal friends to join a meeting that we hold every like 1 or 2 weeks, and we just discuss some spiritual topics and get deeper into certain themes. Sometimes I grab one of the themes that you put out, and we discuss about that. And I think it gives me a really good feeling that I'm actually doing something. And
Well, that's good to do
coming
because you're
into action.
reaching out to people and you're gathering people that you might not even ever meet
Yes.
in person, and doing it, through a piece of technology that you guys can have in-depth discussions. Let me give you a small piece of advice, but you don't have to take it. Just suggesting. Zoom is great software. It works well. It's got a nice interface and it's convenient. However, their licenses for hosting meetings like that go long it can be reasonable, but then if you want to take it to a lot more people, it can be very expensive. Free software that works just as well, if not better in some cases, Telegram and Gilded. If you look into both of those, Gilded has a ton of features, like a massive amount. It's like Discord, where it's got very granular permissions. and you could set up multiple sub-guilds and chat rooms and voice and video rooms. If you're collaborating with a lot of people, it's really nice for that, and especially if you need to assign permissions to multiple user groups. Guilded is great, similar to Discord. I don't like Discord, and I've dumped it for most of my internal operations because they were censoring speech so much. So Guilded is a nice alternative if you need something that's relatively large with a lot of permissions, features, etc. But Telegram works really great for any size groups. That's why we went to it for how to become the true media. And I was paying Zoom in the neighborhood of a couple $1,000s a year to host How to Become the True Media. And I was able to do everything that I did on Zoom with a little bit of audio routing I had to work out, which is not that difficult to do. If you just stick with it and take your time and understand the progression of audio, you probably wouldn't even need to do any complicated audio routing if you're just hosting a meeting. And you could just start a meeting on Telegram and have everybody join in. And, it's sort of always there when you start a group. So it's just something to consider, not saying that you can't continue with Zoom. It's perfectly acceptable, but just wanted to throw those technological options out there for you.
Yes, thank you, Mark. I will take that suggestion into my repertoire.
And this is something that anybody can do. Anybody can do this. Max, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your efforts in doing that and reaching out to your community of people. And that's what it's all about. And you're trying to put the word out there, and then you guys can network and help each other in doing whatever future endeavors you're all going to do. So I think it's a smart idea to work in small communities like that online. So good job.
Yes, let's do this together.
Absolutely.
And I have one last question
Sure.
for you. So what I was interested about is that you used some quotes about the Bible. Like in Matthew today, you even used a verse where it says that you can acknowledge the tree by its fruits, or you can see which person this is by the fruits. And is there in your work in general, or in your mindset, a bigger picture for the Bible, or for yes,
absolutely.
I would say for the Bible, because the Christianity is just a religion that is derived from that.
There's no problem in the interpretation of biblical scriptures as allegorical works that can really translate to real world morality. And there's nothing wrong with reading them and discerning that wisdom that is there within them, and not turning it into a rigid, religion that is dogmatic. I mean, I hear rigid, dogmatic religionists constantly say things that I cannot believe that they believe, because they're so wrapped up in the dogma coming from whatever organization, whatever religious head or religious figure. It's like, this is not the spirit of what real Christianity, or any religion for that matter, was ever intended to be about. It was intended to learn natural law, to learn morality, to help others to learn that, and put that out there for the future generations and make it common sense. And religions went off the track from that completely. So yes, if you're going to read any scriptures allegorically, you can get a rich wisdom from them from a moral standpoint. Just don't take it so far that you go into the full dogma of the religion. That's my stance on it.
Yes, I will consider that, and I really thank you for your insight in that, because I really respect that you have gathered so much information, and you're just this living being that has accumulated all of this. And really, I would just say that I really like talking to you. And let me see, do I have anything else written? There is another interesting question about scripture. Do you also think that a lot of the teachings out there are just perverted states of,
without a doubt,
things that were once
without
true,
a doubt,
once or
and I'm probably going to make a smaller presentation on that's going to focus on one specific aspect of that, which is going to be called the true 7 deadly sins. And I'm going to compare and contrast them to what the church teaches as the 7 deadly sins, which are not true. That is a perverted, false teaching that was taken by early church dogmatists, and it was brought into the teachings of Christianity to dissuade people from an accurate understanding of the real 7 deadly sins, which are the true transgressions against God's law or natural law. And that's something that I find that is very much not known. And religionists, especially Christians, can gain a lot of insight into seeing how, yes, their religion is twisted and perverted and has been taken off track in many ways. And they'll go, oh, no, everybody else's, but not ours, not mine. Yes, it's been done to all religion, including yours, whether you're Buddhist, Hindu, Jain, a Jew, an Islamicist. It does not matter. There are true teachings in every religion. There are perverted and twisted teachings in every religion because they come through the flawed lens of human beings that change and distort it over time in human history. And that's where you got to ask for discernment. You got to ask for discernment in that regard to be able to see the real from the false, to be able to discern the false teachings from the true teachings. So again, Max, thank you for your call. Let's wrap it up and hear from Fred. This will probably be the last call, or maybe we could squeeze 2 in, but let's hear from Fred. Fred, go right ahead.
Hey, Mark, how you doing, man?
Not too bad. A little bit fired up about people's state of inaction, but we're going to try to rectify that this year. We're going to try to really make headway this year, I hope.
Sure. Thank you for your work again. It's invaluable, and everybody should at least look into the occult. But my point is, I'm beginning to translate a little bit when I have the time into the French side in Quebec, in Canada, and I'm taking the time to ask if there's French people who are listening to this, French from France or Quebec or Canada. I invite you to get in my Facebook or the YouTube. My address is right there. I'm trying to join as much as French people as I can, because here the work is scary, Mark. There's almost nothing about the occult in French, in Quebec, and the people are very ignorant.
I believe it. I believe it. I was talking about this the other day with a friend. There are people in occult organizations who are literally paid to purge occult knowledge from bookstores all over the world. This is an operation that's been running for decades. Occultists will actually go into a bookstore, like a used bookstore, and they will clear the shelf of all the occult books. They'll go in with like thousands of dollars, and they will take every occult book down from the shelf, put them in a box, bring them to the counter and say, I want all of these, and just buy them. And they're probably taking them back and either just keeping them in their own library or they're burning them so that no one can read them. And this is going on all over the world. Every day in bookstores all over the world, this is happening.
Or they're making them like too expensive.
Right.
Like it's ridiculous.
Right. They're trying to corner the market on any occult knowledge so that they can take it out of people's price range and they can become rich, or they're simply trying to keep it away from people, or both.
I mean, the culture is so repressive on the French side of Canada. I mean, it's the people are childish as hell, and it's really hard to deal with.
Sounds
that.
like Philadelphia. Sounds like right outside my door here. Yeah.
I don't think it's different, like from places to places. I think it's a degree of ignorance, right. And the people are way too hooked on their TV and all this garbage that they're taking in. And you inspired us to do this work and translate and do a translation of your work, and for me, it's easy to understand. It's easy to say because I practice this. I know my rhetorics, but when you get into these 5 to 7 years old of IQ, they are the mass of the people, and it's very strange, very odd, and very hard to get the information in. And it's a lot of repetition, and I know.
Okay, well that looks like that's all the time that we're going to have. The outro didn't come down. I'm going to have to look into why that didn't happen. But the outro music is playing. So, folks, that's all the time we have for this edition of What on Earth is Happening. Thank you for joining us this week. We'll be live here every Sunday from 3 to 5 p.m. from January through June. So come on back and check us out next week. Ladies and gentlemen, government is slavery, and we'll see you right here next week.